My name is Dylan Sellberg. I lead the ChatSpot product at HubSpot. I have a decent tenure at HubSpot, 10 years total, or 7 years total, rather, sorry. Um, I left for a short stint and returned to work on ChatSpot. So it is a very exciting product that I'm thrilled to work on and bring to you all. ChatSpot in a nutshell, and I'm actually just going to move to sharing screen now because that is the best way for me to illustrate what I'm kind of referring to here is an AI powered sales and marketing assistant, combining the power of ChatGPT that many of you all have likely used, either personally, professionally, or just for fun over the holidays last year. I feel like that's when folks got their first exposure. ChatSpot is the sales and marketing specific assistant, combining that power that you know and love with ChatGPT, with the HubSpot CRM, and really with a business flavor, a sales and marketing flavor that is tailor made for growing businesses like yours. The product is currently in alpha. It is a fast moving product. It is a new landscape, new technology. Everything under the sun about it is new. We're learning together. We're growing together, and for that reason, the product is in alpha, although available to all users. What alpha really means in this situation is just that it is fast moving. When you log in on Monday, it's very unlikely that you will see the same Wednesday or Thursday with regards to the UI, but also functionality. We are delivering product at a remarkable speed. We're learning a lot from our customers. It is in such early stages, and we need to maintain that room for flexibility. Hence the alpha state there. A lot of folks will ask themselves, what is the difference between ChatSpot and ChatGPT? I'm so happy you asked. We have an answer for that. It is really AI that means business. So ChatSpot is doing a few things that factually you cannot do with ChatGPT. It is not powerful. It is not built or structured in such a way to allow you to do that. The first being unique data. ChatSpot does this wonderful thing where it is combining data from several data sources across the web, across your HubSpot portal, across proprietary data sources that HubSpot has, and combining them under one roof. There are a lot of specific prompts or specific commands that you can send to ChatSpot and get really well-rounded answers to that you cannot from ChatGPT or any other AI assistant. The second, it is really a tailor-made solution. And what we mean by that is we are building ChatSpot with 2-3 personas in mind, and that is salespeople, marketers, and service folks, basically users of HubSpot, right? So ChatGPT or any other product like it, Bard, is a giant everything machine. It needs to tailor to everybody on the web at the same time, and that's great. There are use cases for that, but ChatSpot is a much more specific application of LLM technology, of generative AI, and is really attempting to speak to the salesperson or the marketer. And finally, ChatSpot intends to be that personalized AI companion, right? And we want to learn your goals, grow with you, use the data that you provide to ChatSpot throughout your journey to provide improved responses, context, answers, results as you continue to interact with ChatSpot. Bonus points for any HubSpot users out there. We can do a lot of that proactively, right? We're not doing a ton of that quite yet, but there's a world in where ChatSpot has such a good understanding of your business by way of HubSpot that the answers and the prompts and the results that you get directly within ChatSpot are second to none. Some of the emerging use cases we've seen with ChatSpot, and I'll pause here in just a second, are sales prospecting, image generation, just general insights about the industry, diving deep into funding rounds, locations, and things like that, and SEO expertise. ChatSpot's really good at SEO. And finally, we intend to make ChatSpot and position ChatSpot as a tool for everybody on the web, anybody doing business looking to grow with generative AI, but it will just be that much better with HubSpot. So integrated ability to add context, share data from a blog post that's generated in ChatSpot over to a blog post in HubSpot, CRM integration, making it really, really easy to add companies to your CRM, and even HubSpot pro tips, helping you navigate your CRM or identify knowledge base articles directly from ChatSpot as an app are some of the ways initially that ChatSpot is even better with HubSpot. And I imagine that this is a category that we will invest in very heavily moving forward. So that is the long and short of what HubSpot is, maybe a bit longer than you bargained for, Dave, but hopefully that is a helpful rundown of what we're after.
Well, that's brilliant. And, kind of reminding everybody to go ahead and log your questions into the Q&A, because I know that there's a ton of ways that you can use ChatSpot. I'm also super interested to kind of get more info on what that path forward might be, and maybe even a little behind the scenes, if you can, on how you've created it. Like, did we code this using ChatGPT, or how did all that stuff work, and all of those fun things. So,
Well,
let's
can I ask a couple of questions of Dylan before we get to
yeah,
that?
please.
So, Dylan, I understood all the words you used, but you used them so quickly and they're so bigly that I didn't get everything. So, are you telling me that I can have a robot do some of my work for me?
That's certainly the idea. Yes.
Okay, love it.
Yes.
So that sounds really expensive. How much does all this cost?
The low cost of $0.
Ooh, all you need is
Well, I mean, I know how freemium works. It's only so you get some of the features, but then you got to pay for all the good ones, right? So that's what you're doing here. I got to pay $8.99 for the good stuff.
Not yet. There's certainly a
Oh,
world in which that may occur, but right now we're focused on building a really good product, and we know that we can't tack $8.99 or any other number on a product that isn't solving real problems. So that's our focus right now.
Cool.
so back
So
back to Dave's question. What
yeah,
prompted the design and build of this?
Yeah. For those of you who have been following HubSpot closely for a while, you may or may not remember 2016, 2017 GrowthBot, which was a chat bot interface, not so dissimilar from ChatSpot, that Dharmesh built. And it was written essentially to answer common sales and marketing queries. It wasn't necessarily integrated with the CRM, if I remember correctly. But what it did do was provide a natural language interface and allowed the user to ask, common sales and marketing questions. So that was a great idea at the time, but the technology just wasn't there to support it. Fast forward to the, frankly, breakthroughs of recent with large language models, LLMs, and the openness of that technology and the ability for really anybody to use it for business use cases or for personal use cases came ChatSpot. And using a CRM unto itself can be a burdensome task, right? There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. Data's in a lot of different places. And the way that we talk to each other is not necessarily the way that we talk to our CRM. HubSpot's done a pretty amazing job making the CRM delightful to use, notwithstanding. But there's obviously always opportunity to make that better. So we imagine a world where you can do a little bit of both. Like you can ask these CRM questions in the way that you would ask your manager or your analyst or your peers a question about your business, and we can answer some of those. There's certainly a limiting factor there of complexity and follow-up questions and detail and all of that, but we think we can get through a good amount of that with ChatSpot. So that's the impetus and the why behind why it exists.
Can we see it?
Yeah. Let's jump on in. Where should I start with I guess an app demo?
Yeah, I think one of the questions that's already come in is figuring out how, actually Alicia asked, do you think ChatSpot will replace our reliance on HubSpot support for figuring out what reports can be built in HubSpot? So maybe we should talk a little bit about how it integrates with the CRM itself. And then we can go into, some of the more broader research related options, because I already don't know how I lived without it. So there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. So maybe we'll do the HubSpot side first, since we're a user group for HubSpot.
Yeah, perfect. Dave, since you're using it, what are like, I guess, some of the prompts that you're using, and then I can kind of show them off here.
I think inside of, like, on HubSpot reporting, figuring out marketing email performance is one of my favorites. And I guess this is kind of a general question. Can you write your own prompts, or does it all have to be from the preview or the suggested prompts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll dig into that like category here. So I can show you all a few things. So if I'm using ChatSpot without a hub, which is the option I just chose here, you'll notice things look very similar, right? The only thing that's different is there's not the HubSpot prompt template categories over here. So if I connect a HubSpot account and use ChatSpot, I'm just going to use the ChatSpot hub with a hub. Now I've expanded to see the HubSpot CRM categories.
Yes.
And so to your following question there about the prompts versus the free form, I would start with a prompt, figure out what the machine can do, and then move to free form. If you're feeling like you should be getting answers from your free form text that you aren't, almost like restart that clock, go back to the prompt templates, like rethink about your syntax, and then you can go back to the free form. It's just a really translating natural language into so many things that look, frankly, quite similar is a very difficult task. And that's what we're working towards. The system's pretty darn good right now. We do things that are not templates and render them just as well as from the template library. We view the template library as like a twofold solution. One, to help you understand what the system is capable of, and two, just to make things faster if this is like kind of your style. So a lot of users will do like this favorite formatting, things that they're using every day. They'll add those to their favorites and then interact with ChatSpot mostly through this and occasionally just run a free form query themselves.
Cool.
So some of my like favorite CRM prompts. So what happened recently on June 1st was we moved the app on the back end. What that means for you all is not too much. It was mostly an infrastructure decision we made to support scale and speed of the app in the long term. But what happened at that moment was like a few of our HubSpot specific commands, the things that interact with the CRM, have been experiencing intermittent performance. It's our top priority right now, and those should be up and running mostly today. But I can just show you one, like add contact here. And I can just show you how that works. I can send the prompt directly from here. And I just added a contact to the CRM. Now, that was pretty fast. Probably faster than clicking, contacts, create contact, and all that. You can also do that directly from here. And you'll notice the same result, different email. I really love these quick actions that we have here, the ability to take the user from one step and like, what is their natural next, add a note or add a task. So I can click add task and you see the task modal pops up directly from there. I can even combine that. So I'll show you one more example here. And create a task to follow up. And now I'm doing two things at once, adding a contact, creating a task. Added the contact. Let's view this contact and see if I have a task. I do not. In this case, what I would do is I would revisit the syntax and try the prompt template, kind of just like I just mentioned there. But there's a quick demo of how easy it is to like really add a contact to the CRM. And that is like the most lightweight use case. When it comes to reporting, marketing email performance, monthly reporting, we have the HubSpot how-tos, searching the knowledge base, finding apps, and the list beyond that is infinite. I'll pause there and take any follow-ups, and then I can jump into some more feature functionality.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm checking Q&A. Can ChatSpot help with Hubble and HubSpot CMS dev?
Yes. So ChatSpot will output code.
Let's before you answer the question, Dylan, I know what he just said, but for those people who aren't developers, can you guys maybe say what those terms are and what you're actually asking?
Are you asking me?
Well, I think it's important to qualify what those things are. So they're development related, right?
Right. So CMS, HubSpot CMS, of course, is the website builder, and Hubble is the programming language. So if you're trying to make integrations, connect up, do things inside of HubSpot, those are the tools that you would use. So, and Andy's basically asking, can ChatSpot help under the hood of like some of the coding tools that we need to do?
Yeah, the answer is yes. It is not the greatest at that right now. And there's a reason that it is not in the prompt template library for that reason, right? Like we're again using that prompt template library as both a demonstration of what ChatSpot can do and a helpful tool for users as they proceed. So the answer to any question like that is usually check the template library. Uh, there are plenty of places beyond the bounds of the template library that ChatSpot supports, but that's a great place to start and know what we're truly good at. But yeah, ChatSpot will try to output Hubble, and occasionally you may find that useful. I personally have not tested it, validated it, used it in a real
Right.
world case. There's an infinite amount of use cases ahead of that I need to be focused on,
Right.
and so that is on the long tail for me.
I think John just asked a really basic question that we probably should have gotten to right away.
Yeah.
How do you get to ChatSpot from HubSpot?
That's a great question. So right now there is no direct link from within a hub. We do plan to add an option to do that from like the Sprocket menu.
Mhm.
There's like a global setting there where you can change the destination of your Sprocket. So we plan to do that in the near term. But for now, you can just navigate to app.hubspot.com/chatspot or chatspot.ai, and you can sign in directly with your HubSpot account. No new sign in, login, or anything like that required. And so yeah, it's a bit departed right now. I don't know how long it will stay so departed, but that is the current look and feel.
Cool. Thank you.
I think I'd really be interested in seeing the content creation, the
Yeah.
content writing. So can you write me a follow-up email to a meeting I just had?
Yeah, sure. What was the email about, or what was the meeting about?
So it was about it was about email marketing. Somebody was interested in hiring us to do email marketing.
What was the relative conclusion of the meeting?
That they'd like to think about it.
And what was at least one thing you said to them in that meeting?
We talked about the jersey that I have on the wall behind me.
Okay.
Lots of fantastic questions coming in, folks. Keep asking them, and we'll get to them as we go through today's event.
All right, so we have gone off the content writing script, but I think ChatSpot will do a pretty good job of this one because it is mostly in line with a lot of the other things that we do. And so here is your follow-up email.
Love it. So then what I can take that with is then where the parens are, I can, put in the actual specific goal that we talked about in the meeting and save me a little bit of time to use that. And then I can I then have that. Well, let's go for broke, Dylan. So, okay. So let's say I like this email. Can I have this added to my template library?
Not right now, but that is something we would love to support in the near term.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. To show another example, something we do have like in the content generation space is like draft an email about, or a blog post about email marketing. And we'll go super broad. The point isn't the content here, but for a drafted blog post about email marketing, this will spin up, and what will happen is you'll see a quick link of create a blog draft in HubSpot. And here's your blog post.
Wow.
Goes into your HubSpot hub, goes into your blog, and drafts that up.
Yes. Once you
really
cool.
Yep. And you can get very, very specific, right? Like let's do blog generator again, email marketing, and y'all are in Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
2 N's. Did I do it?
Yep. You got it.
Email marketing in Minnesota related to the Great Lakes. Let's see how creative we can get here. Here we are.
Ooh. Now, question, and Andy actually just asked this of us. Can these templates or can this work be used in like blogs? And do I have to worry about copyright? Some of these things like AI or Midjourney and the new Adobe tools and stuff, they have things built in right now that says, really only for use playing around. Is that kind of similar guidance that you would have for some of these tools?
No,
Okay.
no. I would use these however you'd like. That's for the full list of legal data,
Mhm.
copyright, anything like that guidance. ChatSpot has an FAQ on the
Oh, right on.
homepage,
Yeah.
chatspot.ai/FAQ. But there's no trademark on any of this that's
Cool.
out. But
Cool.
technically, like I would put a coat of paint on everything, right? Like none of this output is going to be perfect. It's not going to be your
Right.
exact brand voice.
Absolutely.
You're going to want to put a coat of paint on everything. But it certainly helps solve that blank page problem pretty effectively.
I think a lot of people are scared of a blank page, and that's a difficult thing for somebody to overcome. And so what this is it's a great, it gives you the opportunity to edit as opposed to create from scratch. So Dylan, we've got a couple of people who are chomping at the bit to learn about the SEO and pay-per-click tools. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I can show a few. I will need I guess a volunteer from the audience. Can you all give me some use cases you find interesting? Who's a company's or do you all buy pay-per-click? Or who's a company's pay-per-click that you'd like to look at in terms of pay-per-click competitors? Is one of my favorites.
Ooh, right on. Do something kind of easy so that there's a lot of data. Maybe Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I should note, for everybody on the Hug, you're also completely welcome to unmute and just ask questions as well. So when Dylan's asking for somebody to chime in, feel free to just unmute and give us an idea.
So here we are. So what this command does, PPC competitors, is finds companies buying overlapping keywords. So if you look at what I did there, I didn't just type Coca-Cola.com because I had a feeling that they might have a root domain or something more targeted or niche. So I went to Coca-Cola.com and I realized that this was their domain. And then what I ran was PPC competitors for this domain. Now, what this command is doing is it's running a list of all of the companies who have overlapping keywords with this domain and who are targeting those same paid keywords. So that's a really interesting way to kind of look at your competitors or look at the space in terms of keywords.
And is there a way to put that into the CRM as well? Or is this one of the ones that we can't? I know on some of them you can click a button and it goes into the record for that customer, right? On research.
Yeah, there's no way on this, but I would be curious to know what would you want to add here?
Yeah.
And where do you want to add it?
So I think for me, as I'm building, and we're a little bit of a weird use case because we're an agency that works with HubSpot, so we're kind of an intermediary and user. But for us, we want to put all of the research that we can inside of notes for our records so that we've got all of that data available for the rest of our team as they're building use cases or marketing plans for the customer base, right? So that's probably at least a lower one for us.
Got it.
I'd be interested in you've got chopchopfamily.org on there. It has 10 overlapping keywords. Can I see what those 10 are?
Well, yes, not directly from this, but I actually love that suggestion. It's something we could build. You can go ahead and grab this URL here and run the PPC keyword research prompt of which PPC keywords does a given domain buy. And then you can kind of run that separate prompt. So here we are.
Right.
Look at that.
Storylines, weeknights, food recipes, and all that. So it's, I guess, reverse engineering that prompt there.
Right. Elizabeth asked that question. Can you add a follow-up prompt to view common keywords? So that's exactly how you do that. Cool.
And then you can always, as I mentioned earlier, just to kind of call back, you can use this here. So let's do keywords that HubSpot.com pays for. right? Like this isn't the exact syntax I used up top, but it's going to do a pretty good job pulling up.
Well, that's cool.
How about the organic keywords? Because I think that's sort of the 1A of that is let's say I want to know like what Disney.com is, or even for HubSpot. Yeah.
Cool. And I can show you the Disney one as well. You can imagine it's a pretty impressive list. Mostly branded keywords, right?
Hey, how about that? See, Dave, I keep telling you, trying to rank for Buzz Lightyear isn't going to be a good use of our time.
Might not.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see Alicia's question here about headline generator would be amazing. I'm going to like make the leap based on context that we're talking about, like writing something based on these keywords. If not, Alicia, feel free to clarify and I'd be happy to follow up. But one thing I really like is this keyword phrases one. So which questions do people search related to a given keyword? So let's say like, we'll just follow the Disney. Actually, let's do something a little bit more specific. Let's do like local SEO companies. And now this is going to look for the actual questions people search when they're looking for that given keyword. And I really like that as a way to generate headlines. You can kind of like do this thing here, do this, and then write me a blog headline that can rank for the keyword SEO company.
Oh, love that.
Wow.
And so you can kind of like, chain these things together and start to have a really interesting output.
Wow.
And then go ahead and create that post in HubSpot, baby. That's fun. Wow.
That's cool.
Elizabeth asked, for SEO and pay-per-click research prompts, what's the results time frame? Some results from ChatGPT, for example, are dated from 2020 or so. Is that?
Yeah, no, this is the most up-to-date data that we can find. It is not like we trained a dedicated HubSpot ChatSpot model and like have a training cutoff.
Right.
This is the most recent and aggregated data from those vendors who provide us SEO data.
Is it all GPT-4 or?
We use GPT-3.5 for the majority of prompts, but then GPT-4 for a few.
Sweet. Cool.
Now, Dylan, one of the things that we've asked a couple, 3-4 questions of some things that would be super cool if ChatSpot did, and your answer is, yeah, me too. I'd love it if it did that. But I want to give credit where credit is due, because this has been an iterative process for about 6 months. So how far away from that original product launch are you now? And how many cool extras have you added? Because this is something that you're constantly reinventing and continuing to improve on.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think we've come certainly a long way since March 6th.
Wait, hold on. This was March 6th that you released this?
Yes.
So you're on 3 months, not 6 months.
Yes.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
And you can visit the old like one of my favorite things you can kind of do is, this was just 1 month ago or 2 months ago. One of the first updates that I did weekly, and I'll mute my stuff. This was the weekly update I gave 8 weeks ago. So much different app, look and feel, but on the left-hand side, you can see like our old treatment for prompt templates where, we have email drafting and inbound marketing. Some of the prompts we have, but frankly, things have come a long way. Here's like your outputs table from before. So as you can see, it's a very fast moving progress. We've got a long way to go, but things are shaping up well. We're pretty proud of the progress here.
Is the screen? Is it a different tab maybe?
There we are.
There we go. Okay. Right. Oh yeah.
So here was the UI 4 weeks ago, or 8 weeks ago rather. And this is just the UI, right? Like obviously the results what matter. Here's like a blog summary. The prompts you can see on the left are quite light. We've got a bit better there. Like your tables, your results are formatted in different ways. So we're proud of the progress. Still a long ways to go, but
wow.
it's been moving pretty fast.
Follow-up question to that: How often do you release new products? Is it once a new features? Excuse me. Is it every week or every other week?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot that you've done in a short amount of time.
Yeah, at this pace, we're about. I mean, it's really tough to bucket appropriately because like feature, bug fix, UI, things like that. But like the way I frame it to myself is like meaningful improvements. Whether that's like a major bug fix, a new feature, or UI update, we're pacing at 3 to 5 of those each week.
Wow, cool. How big is the team that's working on this, Dylan?
It's quite small right now. We're pretty excited by that. It's we're focused. We're a pretty small team, and we're on a mission.
Andy asked a good question. How many average daily users do you have using ChatSpot?
I would love to answer that, except I don't know if I'm allowed to. I can certainly follow up. That's not when I've been asked, and I know that being a public company, sometimes it's better to check. So I can check on that. Yeah. I do know actually at the most recent earnings call we mentioned that we had 30,000 or 40,000. I don't remember the time signups, but I don't know if I can disclose any of the other exact numbers.
Right on.
Well, I think that's a pretty good answer to a question anyway. So
right. Well, and Andy's follow-up on that was, can you submit questions for the roadmap, and is there a way to do that?
Yeah. So sign up for the product, use the product. We have NPS that fires in the product. I read every response, I promise. And also I send out a weekly email update to all users. So if you sign up, you will get that email. I sent one this morning, y'all referencing. I get a lot of folks who just reply to that directly. Last week, we actually, and I can show you this case here. Share screen. Last week, we built a handful of new prospecting prompts. Discover companies around like size and location. So let's find companies in Minnesota with less than 1,000 employees. Sorry. Less than 1,000 employees. What we had previously, so like massive repository here, 63,599 results. We got this feedback last week that folks wanted to paginate through. Just 7 days ago, you were just stuck with these 10. Now you can click more results all day, and you can get through all 63,000 if you'd like. I wouldn't recommend it. And so in this case, what I'd recommend doing is doing something like this. Find companies in Minnesota with less than 1,000 employees who use HubSpot. So now we're crossing a different prompt, which is a technology search, and now we're whittled down to 1576. So I really love that prompt. And just to like actually answer the question, this was implemented as a result of me highlighting this functionality in the weekly email, folks asking for pagination, and us building it the following few days.
One thing that I'd love to call out there is if you wanted to add Mercology to your HubSpot, you can click the Add to HubSpot button, and it pops them into the CRM.
Yep.
What happens if you click the research tab there?
Yeah, so now we're going to go deeper on a specific company. So it's going to pull that data. It's going to show me a lot more about this company. So employees, founding year, Twitter account, their industries they're in, locations, the tech they use, everything in between. You can add them to HubSpot here. You can keep on your like investigative journey, looking up search engine summary, organic keywords, paid keywords. Like it really is like a choose your own adventure book here, in any direction.
That's a pretty big game changer for somebody who does professional research on companies I'm trying to reach out to be able to do that quick. That changes everything.
Yeah, I really do love this starting point of like, find a location, employee size, in a technology like that. It's pretty powerful. And you can even cross industry through there as well.
Hey, Dylan, I see you copying and pasting a lot. Is there a way to use like up down arrows like in ChatSpot to bring a prompt back up?
We used to support that functionality. It's interesting you ask about that. We've been like kind of tangling of whether or not to re-support it. But potentially in the future, we'll support the old version of ChatSpot pre-June 1st did support the up arrows to call back your previous prompt.
Got it.
So no, not right now is the short answer to your question, but there is a world where we support those kinds of things again.
Right on. Dylan or Mitch actually had a great question that we haven't gotten to for a little bit. As we're entering as we're entering data into HubSpot, will creating records in ChatSpot bypass required fields defined in HubSpot to create forms? Like if job title is required for a contact?
Yes, it will. Unsure how long that will be the case, but the parallel you can draw in your head is ChatSpot is like importing a set of data. Like, I used to work on the import product a long time ago. Like that can bypass required fields in the same way that ChatSpot can. Or workflows, for example, or any other custom API you build. Like we're not going to respect the UI created fields at this moment. That could be something we approach, but not right now.
And included as simple as Daryl asks, since last week, have you made the change so that ChatSpot checks for the existing domain to avoid creating duplicates before creating a new company?
That is on the hit list, but let's see. We did. So we're creating duplicates right now, and that's something we hope to tackle very soon. We know the domain name is a powerful, unique identifier, so we will get there.
Right on.
What comes next? What are some of the things that you're working on next that we can look forward to in the days and weeks coming before inbound?
Yeah, frankly, our roadmap is about the shortest roadmap I've ever worked with. So I don't know too far into the future. Yeah, we're learning so fast, we're iterating so fast. That's why this is an alpha product. So I don't have necessarily the inbound punchline quite fleshed out yet. But what I can promise is that we really want to add a bunch of depth to the existing prompts. We've kind of felt like we found this lane of like we support, I think it's 40 plus, maybe even 50 templates in the library. We want to make sure all of those are extremely well-rounded and so make sure those are extremely well-rounded. Then B, add HubSpot intersectionality in there. So that prompt I just demonstrated with the find Minnesota, less than 1,000 employees HubSpot, I think that prompt becomes 10 times more powerful if you can say who aren't already in my CRM or who look like my closed won customers. Like that intersectionality with HubSpot is something we'd really like to do very soon. So I think it looks a lot like making these current prompt support really, really great, maybe mixing in one or two features along the way. But we really want to hit these core use cases home.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dave, do we have more questions?
Yeah, we have one follow-up question. So when you ask for competitors for a URL and you can't find competitor data for a domain, is there a way to fix that?
Unlikely if the URL is pasted correctly. So there are like a bunch of common mistakes you can make there. Like the other day, I actually opened up a bug ticket with the team, and it was like I had a typo in my own. Like that's gonna happen. So like check your work. Do the same thing I did with Coca-Cola and like make sure it's the actual company's domain and website. And if you're still not getting results, my guess is that the company is extremely small. Or there's no data available for it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So for the PPC competitors response, that's only looking at paid keywords. What I would instead do is maybe like zoom out and go to like just find competitors. So like if I did competitors to, I don't like using HubSpot.com as an example so often. Let's use
you can use ours, busyweb.com.
So then we'll pull competitors to that. So no competitor data found for busyweb.com. I guess there is probably a size thing, but let's look up like.
Well, it's also because there's no beating us.
That's actually more likely. Yeah. So like Winktra is a good example that I have of a small-ish company. I've worked with these folks before, so it's like kind of one of my favorite examples. They're a corporate drone manufacturer located in Switzerland. So it's like not that big of an industry, but like here are some competitors there. I'd imagine if I did PPC competitors for them, I would not get any results because I don't imagine they're too involved in the PPC space.
Mhm.
But what are you considering large or too small, Dylan? Because one of the things that we're really interested in is like helping our clients become more competitive and become larger. So how, like, if we see this and we're like, oh, we're too small, we need to do more of what? Like, how do you fact find around this? Where is it pulling data from? Does it even matter? That's sort of what I'm interested in.
Yeah, it is pulling data from a handful of sources. So we're using like third-party data providers. We're using internal HubSpot data. A lot of the things that you see populate, like HubSpot Insights, for example, and then a few more on top of that. So it's a corpus of data across the web. Too small is like mostly just a component of the internet.
Mhm.
Like if the research can't be done in a few Google searches and like for a specific company, if you can't like naturally come to that conclusion as an individual, then like this machine isn't going to do any better of a job. So it is kind of like figuring out at that angle.
Yeah.
And the data has to be structured and stored in a really meaningful way. Like part of the way that you through a data aggregator or even a product like HubSpot is like it's traversing really structured data. And that structured data comes from like really large indexes, like AngelList or like Yahoo News, or, the stock market data or anything like that. Like it's traversing all this like really structured data, which has like tables and rows of employee count and industry and vertical and all that. And like if we don't have that, it's like it's very difficult.
Yeah, I was just testing a few things to be like, it would be kind of interesting if it fact finded, kind of like the sales analytics in HubSpot with Sales Pro, right? Where it shows you stuff on your data that you didn't know about. So if you're using this tool to search for, like I pulled up a domain and it showed the domain host as the owner of the whole domain instead of like the company and stuff like that. So you're like, oh, that's wrong. We should fix that, right? Like, or it's pulling that picture for us. That's wrong. We should fix that. So that would be really insightful if it could show you the stuff you don't already know. I know it's still only an alpha, and just kind of plus oneing that concept because that's sort of what I was looking for. But I wasn't sure if I could trust the data that it was sharing back at me yet.
I would trust the data as much as you would trust like any other internet data.
Because it's pulling from lots of sources and it's structured it, so it doesn't necessarily matter. It's just that's what it found when it was searching.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like recently, I was looking for like a rainy day activities for my 15-month-old, and I found this like really cool indoor play space, and I was like gung ho, we were gonna go, and then like I was 2 pages into the SERP, and I found like a review that was like, this place is closed permanently, don't go there.
Oh.
But like the previous 9 reviews were like, this place is amazing, and that's going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
That's why like it's a good discovery tool. It's definitely very useful in a lot of cases. Going to help you do a lot of things a lot better. But as always, the human eye and the trained cognition is really important.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that leads us into a couple of things that I'd like to start rounding third on with you, Dylan. So first, a tactical question, and then I have kind of a higher level question that Anatoly asked right at the beginning. So first from Hector, can this be leveraged to perform some operations? I have a challenge. Add new users to CRM if their domain has an open deal. So is that possible, or is that on?
Ooh, interesting.
Add new users.
So add new users to CRM if their domain has an open deal. So if you have a deal with somebody, add the users to the CRM from that deal.
So like Dave works at, like Dave and I work at BusyWeb. If there's an existing deal with BusyWeb that Dave is associated with, I think, are you asking if ChatSpot can then add my name to the CRM?
Yeah, I think that would be the case, right? And Hector, feel free to chime in if you want to give us more detail on that.
Yeah, we have certain cases, especially with upper level, who don't want to have to bother with keeping track of log and track. But if we could build in some intelligence that is just following some logic, okay, well, add it to CRM if this is the scenario. Could you, for example, use this to perform changes on settings to a team or a user, for example? Or I don't know where that workflow would land. Maybe it might be more of a workflow related question, but if somebody has a question that can be put into words as if it was to sound like a prompt. Could this be leveraged for stuff like that? Because obviously this would go into their settings for log and track. Let's just take this challenge as an example. So that's user settings.
Right.
And that affect
Right.
privacy.
Or maybe even something tactical like set GDP for anyone at domain to authorized or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Are those two settings, the log and track and the GDPR, are those settings at the domain level or at the user level available today?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the only thing left to figure out it would be, is there an API that we can hit internally to do that outside of the UI? The answer is usually yes, which is part of the reason that we moved to move the product recently infrastructurally. So yeah, first I'm hearing of that request or the GDPR one, but as those just mount, definitely open to solving problems like those. Typically, if the thing exists, it can be done using natural language.
Right.
It's just a matter of doing it.
Dylan, you mentioned a 3-letter acronym that I think is sort of interesting. Is there an intent to plug ChatSpot into other programs and integrate with other programs as well? So, for instance, in Hector's case, he was looking for more names. So, down the road, is this something that could plug into a tool like ZoomInfo that could conceivably have all those names and you could coordinate?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Through an open API?
I don't know about ZoomInfo specifically. My guess would be it's not that open. They probably have something. I haven't done enough digging there. But yeah, again, it's we're working through a few steps at a time. So I'm not quite sure what the longer term future holds. I know that's not in our more immediate roadmap to start populating individual data though.
Sure. That leads me to our perhaps final question, although folks keep chiming in. Anatoly asked right at the beginning, how can we build trust in ChatSpot and other AI tools? You're kind of the torchbearer for AI at HubSpot.
Yeah.
How do you get people excited about it and get them to trust it?
Yeah, that's a deeply personal question. I think it's up to you. I am a person who just believes the upside of all of these things is way stronger than the downside, and I'm willing to get a Neuralink in my brain tonight if I was offered the opportunity. That's who I am. But my trust is not the same as your trust. My customers are not the same as your customers. When I use all Google products, and at the beginning of the Google hardware and at the beginning of any onboarding, it says do you want to send your data to Google? I'm like, heck yes, let's build a better experience for me. I'm into that. You might not be into that, and that's okay. That is I think trust is a very personal concept, a very molded by the work you do, the people you're surrounded by, the things you're interested in. So I don't have a good one there. It's up to you.
One I'd like to take the opportunity to ask the final question. I think it is the most important question we've asked of the day. So, Dylan, as you continue to make robots smarter, can you talk about the preventative Terminator-esque measures you have in place to keep the robots from taking over?
Yeah, as soon as the robots can beat me in a round of golf, then they will have achieved Terminator status. But until they're out in the course, chopping it up on a Saturday morning, can strike the ball better than I can. I think we still got a place on Earth as humans, at least to play golf here and then.
I think they do have robots that are better golfers than you, but the power cord out to the 10th, 11th, 12th hole, that gets pretty expensive. Yeah. So.
And nobody likes playing with them either.
Yeah, so. That's true. That's true.
I'll always have a role.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Great answer. Thank you.
We did have one last second question. Prospect and exclude those working with partners.
No, but that would be a fascinating angle for us to integrate into a search like that. It would probably be only relevant to partners, but that would be definitely something we could explore in the future.
Amazing. Very good. Well, I want to wrap this up because I know Dylan has a hard stop at 5 minutes till. Is there any parting advice that you have or something that you're super excited about that you can give us a little nudge or a little preview of as we end out today. And thank you so much for your time today, Dylan, and for everybody on the call. This has been super fun.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all. I appreciate you having me very much. Use the product, please. Give it a try. It is in its early stages, but I promise and I guarantee it will deliver value in ways maybe you hadn't thought of or maybe you have. So we'd love your feedback. We'd love your trials, your use cases, your desires, your hopes, and your dreams. ChatSpot is going to get a lot better over the next few months and forever if I have anything to do with it. So excited to keep building for you all and helping you grow better. That's what we're here for. So
amazing. Hey, thank you so much, Dylan. And to everyone, a couple of final reminders. We will be submitting this recording, and everyone that registered to today's event and attended will receive that link. If you do have follow-up questions that you'd like to share with Dylan, I believe your email address, is that cool to share, Dylan?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or just reply to the emails that you get, right? If you've
yes, you can reply to those emails directly. Those come from an alias team at ChatSpot. But my email's dsellberg at HubSpot or Dylan at HubSpot. Any of the above. I say this now. I cannot guarantee a response, but I can guarantee that I'm reading whatever you share. So
super.
I try to respond, try to offer feedback when I can. But I can guarantee that I'm reading and I'm listening and I'm hearing everything you're willing to share.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dylan. This has been fantastic and fascinating. I learned a bunch of things about ChatSpot today. I really appreciate your time.
Likewise. Thank you all so much.
Cool. Hey, thanks everybody for joining for our
Thanks,
HubSpot user groups at both the Twin Cities and the Manufacturing Midwest Hugs. Thank you very much. Keep tuned and make sure that you subscribe to both of our hugs to keep up to date. We have a bunch of things in the works. I think our next Twin Cities one is going to be in September, and that is going to be an in-person event at Dynamico. And then we're going to have at least a quarterly event every time for both Manufacturing Midwest and the Twin Cities Hub. So thanks to all for joining, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.